Hi, I'm Erik Voss, and after seeing Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, I had questions. It turned the whole Harry Potter mythology as we know it upside down. We're all kind of feeling on the inside how Ron Weasley's face always looks on the outside. Now we're talking surprise endings here, people. I'm gonna explain this ending, and it's a surprise one, so spoiler warning if you haven't seen the movie yet. Okay, you've had enough time to click away. Let's start with the big reveal. Creedence is a Dumbledore. After spending the movie seeking the truth about his family origin, Creedence Barebones ends the movie aligned with Gellert Grindelwald, who tells him that his name is actually Aurelius Dumbledore, brother to Albus Dumbledore. Apparently confirming this blood relation, the young bird that Creedence had been nursing throughout the movie suddenly grows into a full mature phoenix. Dumbledore explained earlier in the movie that phoenixes were part of an old Dumbledore family legend, that the bird would appear to family members, but that the last phoenix had flown away and Albus didn't currently have one. So Creedence's bird being a phoenix, perhaps even fox, though I'm not sure if this is the same phoenix. This is supposedly proof that Creedence is a Dumbledore. Now this would make him the fourth Dumbledore sibling after Albus, Aberforth, and Ariana. Ariana, of course, died at a young age during the duel between Albus, Aberforth, and Grindelwald. But there's kind of a problem with this. It creates some serious timeline issues. These Fantastic Beasts movies take place in the year 1927, and Albus Dumbledore's father, Percival Dumbledore, died in Azkaban prison in 1890. That would mean that if Creedence was his son, Creedence would have to be at least 37 years old, and he clearly isn't. Ezra Miller is 26, and in the first Fantastic Beasts movies, he's supposed to be around 18. Now, one way around this could be Dumbledore's mother, Kendra. She lived until 1899, meaning that she could have conceived Creedence with another man, making Creedence around 28, but that would mean Creedence would have been a 27 or 28-year-old man living with the Bareboneses. That seems kind of weird, right? Like, no shame if you're 28 living with your parents. I know, there's a lot of you. But Creedence was clearly a teenager in that movie. Also, if Kendra had Creedence with another father, why would she keep the Dumbledore name? Yeah, it doesn't really work. So another way around it, some have argued, is that Creedence could be a different blood relative to Dumbledore, like his cousin or his nephew. But the issue here is Grindelwald clearly said brother. You could argue that maybe when Grindelwald told Creedence, your brother has been trying to stop you, he just meant brother in the general sense, the way that he addresses all of his followers as brothers and sisters. But come on, Dumbledore is not Grindelwald's follower. He's his biggest enemy. If anything, Dumbledore actually said that he and Grindelwald were more than brothers, right? Right? Why would Grindelwald confuse Creedence in this moment by calling an enemy trying to destroy him brother, when he knows that Creedence is specifically seeking the truth about his family? Look, it's hard to make sense of this, and hopefully JK Rowling will clear it all up soon. She's usually pretty good about that. Now there is another possible explanation for this little discrepancy, but first, thanks to our sponsor, Vincero Watches. Crimes of Grindelwald may make the concept of time a bit confusing, but there's no reason we have to fear it. Look, having a nice watch on your wrist shows people you're master of time, gives you authority, turns heads. Admit it, you have been unable to turn your head away from me this whole video. And you would just be amazed how much this watch from Vincero completes your look, elevates your game. It's so classy, it's well crafted, got nice finishing, attention to detail, and it's still super affordable for watches. Plus, it's not that minimalist cookie cutter design that some other can't spells wear. Can't spell is my new favorite muggle diss. It's so schoolyard. With this, you stand out, you get noticed. Time turner necklace? No thanks, I don't need to time travel. I got this black bag silver surgical grade stainless steel Chrono S with a crocodile top grain Italian leather strap, baby. Vincero apparently just received their 12,000th five-star review on their site. A lot of people are loving their luxurious style. You should check out their site for yourself for their variety of designs and colors, a good fit for anyone who wants to look their best. And if you jump on this right now, Vincero is having a crazy epic pre-Black Friday sale. It's the best prices they offer all year, and it won't last long, so get on it. Just go to vincerowatches.com/newrockstarsale2. Okay, back to this stuff with Creedence. These inconsistencies bring up another question. Could Grindelwald have been lying? Perhaps Grindelwald just told Creedence he was Dumbledore's brother so that he could manipulate this powerful obscurial against his foe, whom Grindelwald cannot attack directly, remember? Like maybe Grindelwald hopes Creedence will get close to Albus, and then he could be using a Dumbledore out in the open. Or maybe he thinks that the idea of Dumbledore's siblings abandoning Creedence will further infuriate him against Dumbledore. An important detail earlier in the movie, there was a meeting between Grindelwald and Grimson, the bounty hunter, and Grindelwald made certain to confirm that that half-elf elf nurse woman was killed. Why is this important? Well, she would have been the only person to confirm the truth. Was it a cover-up? I don't know. Really, this idea of Grindelwald possibly lying, to me, creates even more logic issues. Like, why would JK Rowling end her movie with a lie? It cheapens the whole thing. And why would she include the Phoenix as a form of visual confirmation of this reveal? Like, folks, she obviously didn't want us to doubt this. She wanted it to land as a cool reveal. Really, just step away from this. I think the majority of audiences are not thinking as hard about timelines as we are. They just hear, oh, he's Dumbledore's brother. Cool. Oh crap, I said on a bunch of crunch. Like, I hate to admit that Rowling might not be so fixated on timeline minutia, but there is another glaring example of it in this movie. Minerva McGonagall is teaching at Hogwarts 8 years before she was born. How the hell? Like, when we see Dumbledore at Hogwarts in this movie, McGonagall makes a cameo. The problem is, McGonagall was born in 1935. And don't at me saying fans just made this up. In Order of the Phoenix chapter 15, she states that she started working at Hogwarts in 1956 after working for the ministry for 2 years immediately after graduation, 1954, making her first year at Hogwarts 1947, and because of her October birthday, she was born in 35. Rowling wrote that in the books. Now, you could say that Dumbledore only refers to McGonagall in this movie by her last name, no first name, suggesting that this could be her mother, Isabel McGonagall. But if you look at the script for this movie, it clearly labels her as young Minerva McGonagall. I'm sorry. Now, sure, we could overthink this. Maybe McGonagall has been lying about her age, or maybe she was such a good teacher that Dumbledore lent her the Time Turner to teach earlier generations of students. Apparently, academic uses for the Time Turner are totally fair game. Ultimately, folks, I think both the McGonagall cameo and retconning Creedence as Dumbledore's brother are both meant to be fan service, not really false flags so Rowling can prove she outsmarted the tiny percentage of us super nerds who overthink her stories. Like, don't get me wrong, we love pretending incompetence is conspiracy here at New Rockstars. Sometimes it just doesn't really add up. Psst, it's a Time Turner. We'll talk. For me, the biggest question is, what was that Aurelius Dumbledore baby doing on that boat? And also, was it the Titanic? Okay, no, I don't think it was the Titanic. The timeline could have worked out, it could have been 1912, but Corvus's lifeboat was overturned by a stormy wave, and all accounts of the Titanic disaster famously described the sea that night as eerily calm. But here's the point of contention for me. Later in the movie, Leta and Yusuf break down the truth of the Lestrange family tree. Yusuf believes that Creedence is Corvus Lestrange, Leta's half-brother, but Leta reveals that she was with baby Corvus on this boat, but because he cried too much, she swapped him with another random baby. The real Corvus ended up drowning, while Rando baby, who ended up being Creedence, lived on in New York. If Creedence is actually Aurelius Dumbledore, that would mean one super significant wizard baby was right across the hall on this boat from another super significant wizard baby. God, who else is on this boat? Sounds like a real who's who. Down the hall, you guessed it, Minerva McGonagall. She's everywhere, negative 20 years old. Yeah, the odds seem like a stretch, right? Though, maybe it's possible. This boat's whole function was to transport wizards to America to get them away from Europe. Like maybe European wizards exile their troublemakers across the sea. And maybe the Dumbledore family could have put little baby Aurelius on this boat to keep his toxic tantrums away from them. Kind of like when the UK tried to give us Piers Morgan. He's no problem now. But speaking of toxic influencers, what was Grindelwald's plan in this movie? Like, how in 1927 did he know a second world war among the humans was on its way? After Grindelwald's escape from prison, his plan basically had two parts. One, to find Creedence, the Obscurial, apparently because he's Dumbledore's brother. And two, to increase and inspire his follower base. Like he baits the Aurors into attacking one of his followers so that he can paint all the Aurors as the violent ones and himself as a peaceful new order. Interestingly, he shows them all images of the Second World War destroying civilization, including a mushroom cloud. Now, it's pretty nuts that Grindelwald can predict this. Like in the 20s, some people did suspect the Second World War was inevitable, but how would Grindelwald know about atomic weapons? Research for that technology didn't even begin until the 30s. I think there are two things to take away from this. First, Grindelwald is an incredibly powerful wizard with probably some impressively clairvoyant divination powers. But also, Grindelwald's vision for the future, World War II, a nuclear holocaust, folks, that isn't exactly accurate. A-bombs were only dropped on Japan by the Americans, of course. Europe was certainly devastated by the war, but not decimated by nukes. Grindelwald could have been referring to the Muggles' destructive tendencies in the general sense. Or perhaps he's seeing a future timeline that will be changed by the events of upcoming movies. Think about it. Historically, we know Dumbledore and Grindelwald will have their epic final duel in 1945. That was the same year World War II ended. Was the war going to play out differently, prolonged until a nuclear disaster? Until these wizards secretly changed the timeline to what we know it to be today? Did Dumbledore secretly save us during World War II? Or by later killing Grindelwald, the wizard who claimed he wanted to stop muggles from building weapons of mass destruction? Did Dumbledore indirectly cause World War II and the Cold War? Yeah, I know my head hurts too. I just know it wasn't our fault. I should dig into this into another video, but this brings us to one last question. How binding is that blood pact between Dumbledore and Grindelwald? Like, how are Dumbledore and Grindelwald going to duel in 1945 if this blood pact prevents them from attacking each other? As I said before, Gellert and Albus also fought when they were younger, that fight that led to Ariana's death, but Aberforth was also involved. So, I don't know, maybe he passed their curses to each other, like an intermediary friend passing messages to the friends who were mad at each other. Gellert Albus told me to tell you of Avada Kedavra. Oh no, Ariana, I'm so sorry. Or maybe Dumbledore's curse ricocheted and struck Ariana because of this blood pact curse between him and Grindelwald. He would literally have paid for his love for Grindelwald with his sister's blood. Guilt. Ultimately, this really complicates the history we thought we knew about Grindelwald and Dumbledore's final duel. Maybe that chocolate frog trading card got it wrong. Maybe Dumbledore's great victory was secretly like more of a merciful surrender by Grindelwald to his former lover. I guess you can't really put that in history books. Maybe we should. But the question I'll leave all of you with, do you think the Obscurus that made Creedence, Aurelius, and Obscurial could have actually been the same Obscurus that previously infected his sister Ariana, if the theories about her being Obscurial end up being true? I personally think they are. Comment down below with your thoughts, and follow New Rockstars on Twitter and Instagram at New Rockstars. And for my rants and ramblings, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at EA Voss. And subscribe to this channel for more breakdowns, explanations, and theories like these. And folks, remember, when JK Rowling's characters do something that confuses us, we should take our cues from Dumbledore and stay calm.
Harry, you put your name in a goblet of fire.
Well, calmer than that.